I just want to do a quick shout out as well to Jenny. Hi Jenny. She actually recognized my voice the other day when I was talking to her over the phone and asked me if I had a YouTube channel, so that was really cool. She sent me an email afterwards asking, and I literally showed everyone in the office that, like including my regional manager, because I was so proud. I was like, oh my god guys, I'm like famous. So not really, but that was super cool. Thank you so much for recognizing me. I never knew like my voice was this distinct in order to recognize me over the phone, but yeah, you're super perceptive, and thanks for watching. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I thought I'd do a video about how I got started at Aritzia. I know for a lot of Vancouver and Toronto girls, Aritzia is a very famous place, I guess. It seems very coveted. A lot of the people who work at Aritzia are also really active on Instagram, so I know I really looked up to them before I started working at Aritzia. It's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to start working there. It just seemed like a place where a lot of driven people met and really supported each other. So I applied to Aritzia about 4 times, yeah, before I finally got hired. So if you don't get the job on the very first time, don't give up. Keep applying, keep sending your resume, except, you know, like maybe give it like a little breather room in between so you don't seem like a little too crazy. The interview process has changed since I've first applied, but that being said, I feel like there's a lot of good tips I could provide for you guys that really want to work there. So the very first time I applied through their website, and I got a reply within the next 2 to 3 days or so, and they asked me to come in for a quick meetup. Essentially, it's not like really an interview. I remember them saying like it's not an actual interview, but it's like more of like a quick chat to see if you fit the company. So then with that email, it gave me like a little invite to a Google Calendar so I can choose whichever day worked best for me and I can pop in. So I did that, and I came in their support office, and when I came in, there were about 5 other girls, and we all sat in the same room waiting for us to be interviewed. It was a little nerve-wracking because you're all waiting there for the same position, but that being said, Aritzia is like consistently hiring for like new locations. So about 10 minutes after waiting, we finally got interviewed one by one. It was super casual. I met this girl like right at her desk, and it was like a very like public setting. It wasn't like behind an office doors or anything, so super public, and she just asked me questions like, tell me about yourself, why Aritzia? And literally that was like all the questions I got, because I think she knew I was super nervous, and it just like I shot my own foot. I knew there was no coming back. But that being said, I kept applying, and then the second time I applied, it was through the website again, and it says there's like a little box. It asks, have you applied for this position before? I clicked yes, and I used my same email address. I didn't get a call back or anything. And then I tried again a couple months later, and I didn't click that box that time, but I still used my same email address. They didn't reply to me again. So then the 4th time I applied, I did a new email address, and then I didn't click that box that I applied before. And then I got a text, super casual, I got a text from one of their talent acquisition managers, and she asked me to come in one of their stores so we can have a quick chat. I think it was the Wilfred Pacific Center location that I first went to. I went in there and I talked to her for about 5 minutes. Actually, it was more so like 10 minutes because I really tried to like stretch out that interview as long as possible because I wanted it to be really memorable. She just asked me to tell her about myself. This time I actually had a good answer. I think the first time they asked me that, I was like, oh my god, so personal, because I think going to an interview, you're always thinking, oh, like this is all the experience I've had, this is like my schooling, etc, etc, but then you forget more about like your personal ambitions and like your personality as well, like how to describe it. Like, oh, tell me about yourself. It seems like something people would ask like during a first date or like on like some kind of online dating questionnaire. But yeah, tell me about yourself is a huge question. They always ask it. So I answered that, and I think she just asked me like again, why Aritzia, like what do I like about the company. She didn't ask me what I knew about the company, which kind of disappointed me because then I like literally went on their about page and I memorized everything. I was like, you guys were formed in 1964, I think. I don't even know if that's correct, but yeah. She didn't really ask me anything like specific. It's more so like seeing if my personality aligned with the company's values. And then I didn't really hear back for about 2 weeks or so. But But then she finally texted me and asked me to come for a longer interview process, again at one of their stores. It was at the Metrotown location this time, and that interview process took about 30 minutes, and we just really talked about my goals. And she asked me like, where do I see myself in 5 years, and where do I find influence for fashion, stuff like that. It was super casual and it was really just fun. Like, I felt like I was talking to a girlfriend. We were sitting like literally on the couch at the store while everyone's like trying on clothes like right by the fitting rooms, and we're just like, yeah, so I really want to live in New York. At that time I really wanted to live in New York, so I like told her that. But yeah, it was like super easy. I felt really relaxed this time. I think a large part of it is just allowing yourself to talk to her, like talk to the recruiter as if they are your girlfriends. I mean, obviously you would want to present your best self to them, but just remember at the end of the day, they want someone who is able to form connections with the customers for their brand. And it always helps dressing in Aritzia clothes as well and following trends. Like, I remember for my first interview, I was like, oh yeah, like spring pastel colors are coming back, and then I was wearing pink and purple, and I was like even showing off my outfit a little bit. I was like, oh yeah, I just got this trench, like, blah. And then after that, I got the position. I started working at the pop-up store at Metrotown. It was the sales store because we were relocating to a different location, like literally just 2 doors down. But then that store just became like a sales store. So then I worked there for about 3 months with a whole bunch of new people, with a whole new team. Everyone was brand new, like literally like fresh young blood. And then there were 2 girls that came from the Robson location, kind of there to be more of like a role model and provide guidance to the new girls. But my time there was pretty interesting. Working at Aritzia, you realize that everyone is really motivated that works there, and they all have goals and ambitions, and they're not afraid to stick up for themselves. Really taught me a lot of things, like, you know, not being afraid to stand up for myself, and over communicating. Over communicating is such a big part of Aritzia, because if you've ever been to a store, it's like a zoo. Like, it's kind of crazy. So you're always hearing girls talking like Aritzia lingo. Like, it's very fast paced. So then you just learn to like over communicate with your managers and your peers, being like, okay, I'm going to the washroom now, I'm gonna go to the back room, I'm gonna go to the side of the store or something. You're always over communicating because it's so easy for you to get lost in like a swarm of people. So I worked at the pop-up store for about 3 months, and it was really good because everyone was really nice. We all started at the same time, so we had like that really nice camaraderie, like a sense of kinship essentially. So that was great. And then after the store closed, we kind of all tapered off to different stores. I went to the Oak Ridge location. I only stayed there for about 1 month because it was so different from the pop-up store in the sense where everyone was very seasoned there. Like, everyone knew their products, they knew which material, they knew item numbers. I mean, like, I thought I was crazy with item numbers. I still know a couple as of right now, but like, they know what season like the items were created and how old they are, because like Aritzia does a lot of different variations of their products. Like, there are 5 different Cohen pantses, there are 5 different texture pantses, Allen pants, whatever. But those girls, like, they knew each item number and like the material and what year they came out, and I was like, oh my god, like, that is intense. So then it was very hard to like keep up with that essentially, because a lot of customers at the Oak Ridge location, they were clients of the very seasoned style advisors. Like, this one style advisor, she has been working at Aritzia for like 20 years, so her client list is huge, and every time people came in, they asked for her. So it was really hard for me in that store, because I just like really missed my old team, and I just felt like I wasn't performing really well, and eventually I just kind of lost my motivation. So then I left the company for about a month because I had to go on vacation anyways. So Aritzia doesn't really let you go on vacation for long periods of time, and so usually what you have to do is that you have to quit and then you have to reapply, and usually they take you because they're always looking for new people. Turnover rate is really high, so again, like, they're always rehiring people. So yeah, I left the company, I think it was around October, November, and then after my vacation I was really broke. So then I came back in December, but then this time I went back to the Pacific Center location for the Aritzia because one of my managers at the Oak Ridge location actually moved over there, and working in the Pacific Center location, I was more so on the merchandise side, so I didn't have to sell as much, which was great for me because then it just like took a lot of pressure off. I mean, obviously I still had things I needed to upkeep for performance, but yeah, it was a lot easier and I felt like I was happier doing that. But then I felt like I wasn't really growing in that position as much as I wanted to. So then I applied to be a customer care associate at the support office location. And my store manager at that time actually put my name forward as well. So I had an interview there with the regional manager, and again, it was super casual. We did it in the kitchen, but then doors were closed this time, so it was a little bit more private. And she just asked me questions like my background, how I think I'm equipped to do this, and how I handle like escalations and dealing with angry customers essentially. And at that time I had like a course I was taking during school for marketing communications that was called a communications course, where I did a lot of emails like for procedure, for denial, like awkward emails like those. So I had a little bit of experience dealing with that. So then eventually I went on to customer care. I feel like customer care is very different from the stores in the sense where yes, it's still so crazy, but you're literally just like sitting for 8 hours. And it was my first like office job, and I remember the first time I stood up after like 8 hours, I got a huge head rush, and I would literally just walk around my neighborhood for like 2 hours after each shift because I was so tired of sitting. It's a little bit funny though because I feel like you're always missing the crazy. So then even though I love customer care, I always like kind of miss the stores, like running around and just like helping customers like face to face and building that genuine connection. But yeah, that's how I started working at Aritzia, and that's how I am where I am now. And I wanted to touch on this topic as well because I feel like whenever you're looking at Aritzia interviews or like job ratings or like reviews on Glassdoor, Indeed, is very negative, and a lot of the times people are saying that girls steal your sales and it's a very toxic environment to be in. So I wanted to touch base about that because I never want to be dishonest with you guys. Obviously that is a part of the company. In my 2 years at Aritzia, I have experienced similar things to what the reviews are saying. What I have to say about that is that each location is super different. I've worked at Oak Ridge, Metrotown, Pacific Center, all like permanently those were my base stores, but then I also worked at Robson, where else, Park Royal, and okay, maybe that's it. But yeah, I've also shopped at like Coquitlam, Guilford, like so many other stores, so I'm very familiar with the landscape essentially, and each store is very different. Like I said, Oak Ridge is very clientele based. They have a lot of customers coming in knowing what they want and who they want to assist them. They usually buy like $1,000 worth of clothes, but then those are usually like from personal shopping appointments that they book with some of the senior style advisors. And other stores such as like Metrotown and Robson, those are more service busy, so a lot of clients come in and out of the stores, so it's very fast paced. And that being said as well, each store has a very different team. Like I know the Metrotown team was tight AF, like they all party together, even the managers partied with them, and yeah, it was really tight when I was there. Again, like because the turnover rate is super high, a lot of times the team changes really rapidly. Like the people I started with at Metrotown, a lot of them aren't there anymore. They all scattered to like different stores or they left the company. Yeah, like it just really depends on your team, and it really depends on how you're able to deal in stressful environments as well. You really need to be able to stand up for yourself. So then in terms of like girls stealing your sales, because I know I've read a lot of like reviews of that on Glassdoor, that's when over communication comes in. You should always be talking to your colleagues and telling them like who you have on the floor, your customers, and what you're doing, so that there's no opportunity for them to kind of steal your clients. And you should always be linking in with your managers as well, so they can always vouch for you. And assuming like you have a customer and like you have been assisting them, I feel like you need to make a point to continually assist them. Like you can't just talk to them once, be like, hey, I started this person a fitting room, and like ignore them for like 2 hours while they assist themselves and then claim the sale afterwards. We don't even work on commission. I want to just put that out there right now, because I feel like a lot of people assume that people work on commission because of how pushy some of the associates are, and I do apologize for that. I realize that is something that is very prevalent in the company as well, and like it is a huge opportunity for us, but we don't get commission. At least I don't think we do, because I never got commission, but we have sale quotas in which we have to maintain. I don't want to get into like the numbers about that, just because I feel like that's internal information, but we do have quotas we have to maintain, and a lot of times there are a lot of pressures, especially if quote-unquote girls are stealing your sales. And I never did that as a style advisor, and it really bothered me whenever people did, because you know, I feel like there has been a huge shift in the company culture within the last like couple years. I feel like before they were just hiring people who they thought looked good and had style, but they weren't very in tune with the customers, and now they're actually hiring people who really care about creating a clientele and building genuine connections and actually assisting customers. There has been a huge shift in the company culture, in my opinion. The execution of that is still in the process of rolling out. I feel like some stores are a little bit higher like in the spectrum of actually like fully assisting customers, while other stores are still kind of sticking to their old ways, and they're trying to like slowly integrate into the new culture. Working at Aritzia obviously is super stressful. It is a very high volume, high pressure environment. Please be honest with yourself though if this is something you can actually handle, because even though I feel like I love the high pressure or high intensity of it, there are times where I have burned out, which explains why I left the company twice already. But I mean, I keep coming back. So being a part of the Aritzia team, I feel like it always will have an impact on who I am right now, because it has taught me so much about myself and about how much I value communicating with other people, what good communication actually looks like, and just like really being accountable as well for myself. At Aritzia, they do hold you to very high pedestal, so it's really important for me to always continually like meet that standard. So yeah, I've been with Aritzia for about 2 years now, and if you guys have any further questions on the interview process, what it's like working there, etc, etc, feel free to reach out to me. Leave a comment below. You can always DM me on Instagram, it's cindythi, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!